Hey, so I'm going to be doing a very in-depth magnet example where I completely explain what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing and different options that you have and why whatever I'm doing is the best, or at least the best that I can see. Obviously, it might not actually be the best, but you get what I'm saying. So typically when I plan my star, I'll try to plan star plus 2. Oh, scramble will be in the description, by the way. This is just because, no, not full step, star plus 2, sorry, I misspoke. So I'll plan star plus 1, and I'll plan the general location of a second pair that is nearby, so an adjacent pair. This is just to help me rotate, or minimize rotations near the start of F12, sorry. So first off, okay, well this is an absolute joke, and then afterwards I could go on something like that. This is a very easy scramble. So star pieces all around here, and then back there. So yeah, this is pretty easy. Yeah, all right. So pick up, I'll move this out of the way, which also moves this to this layer. And I'll just do an R2 to move that out of the way, like back here, so I can solve it later. And then I can just solve these two star pieces like that. Solve my red. And then just completely realign my star and solve my purple. And then I can just bring my green up and solve that. And now I just have my two free pairs from before. So I'll rotate this way to start solving them. And here, I'll just rotate here, and you can see I'll obviously be able to cancel. Because if I insert this, because, you know, it's a free pair, I'd imagine you're able to recognize what a free pair looks like. The EU of this is good, obviously, so I can just insert it into the bottom, cancel into doing this. And now I have this pair from before. So, you just do, like, it's oriented, this is here, or you can recognize this, these two aren't matching, whatever. Break it up like that, and then here you have two options. You can either cancel, bring the slot up into doing this, which is pretty nice. What did I just do? Yeah, or you can do F into solve the pair. I use both, just depending on whatever I'm feeling during solve. I would tend to use the F solution, but, you know, to each their own, I guess. For this pair, you can see because these two match, and this is here. If I take this out, this can be inserted with that, like an RU prime R prime, which is the same way you'd insert a free pair, so you want to set up to a free pair. And since these match, obviously you can, and the edge is oriented, you can just set up to a free pair like that. It's pretty easy. And then you insert, and I'll just rotate here. And I don't see my corner, so now it's like all the way down here, because I guess it must have been there before, but I've forgotten about it, and it obviously wasn't here because I was right there. So I'll just rotate down, and yeah, it's here. Here you have like a few options, I guess. So you can do F into solving the pair like this. This is a 3x3 case. I probably wouldn't do this, just because like it's got an F move, there's not really any real point to doing that. You could do L prime into solving the pair like this, which is R prime cancelling into doing that. Or you could just do L2 prime, which in this scenario would, in my opinion, likely give the best case. Because here you can see, just because of the way the corner is, you can insert the corner with R prime U prime R, which is the same way you'd insert a split pair like this, right? So you want to set up something like that because the EO is good. So R prime U prime R does that. But then you do R prime U prime R prime, U2. So all this cancels. So you can just do R prime U and insert it. But any of those three options that I showed for that pair are good, and just whatever you see first, really. So I'll rotate here, and usually I'll use this as my star piece, but here you can see if I do that, this is like a kind of bad case. So you can either do like an R first, because you can see this is misoriented. So obviously when I do my F prime, it's going to get oriented. Or you can just use this as your star piece. And in this case, using this as your star piece does give a nice case for my next pair. But like I would likely use this. But also I would be likely to use it. Whichever one I see first in this scenario, I'm likely going to use as my star piece. I'll show you with this though. Okay, I guess you have two ways. So you can do RF prime, U prime, and then insert this, which also inserts this. But like, oh, what have I just done? Yeah, okay. That's not the case I had. This, I think. Yeah, okay, yeah, this. So if you just insert it like this, you get this case, which is pretty nice. So since these two don't match, you can just do U prime, and then you can do an F2 prime, which sets up to this. Or you can just do an F prime, because an F prime here, you can see, you have like these two not matching, so it's sort of like a free pair. So I'll bring it down, do that, and just cancel into inserting. But at the same time, you could have also just done that. And if you do this, then you can see it's like a 3x3 case, like just like this case, yeah. You can do that and cancel, but like, or instead, if you don't want to cancel like that, you can just make it a free pair, because like these don't match, so like you get a joint pair, and obviously doing this will make it a free pair. Sorry, not joint pair, 3-mover. And you just insert into the back like that, 3 moves. And now I do like full pseudo S12 for parts that obviously aren't last 2 faces or the start of S12. So I'll always use this as my star piece. So here, I'll insert this as my star piece, and then obviously since purple's on bottom, you need to treat it like you would treat white in a 3x3 solve, assuming that you're doing white cross, obviously. So then here, you can see for these two, I would treat purple like the star piece. So you can see that since these two don't match, and obviously E is good, you can do L prime, U2 prime, and that gives you a free pair, and then L prime. But another thing you could have done is you could have done F prime, U2 prime, and inserted like this. Both are nice. I don't think it particularly matters here, just whichever one you decide to do. Or maybe depending on what your next pair would be, how you're flowing into it, whatever. Do that. And here's something that's like a very important thing to know for pseudo S12, is here, instead of inserting this and doing an F, you can do a cancellation of sledge into an F, which just gives you a 3-move insert, which is very nice. And then here, my next pieces are here, and you can recognize this as either EO is good, because like obviously these match, or you can recognize as these are matching, so obviously these two don't match. So, because this can be inserted like that, you're going to be setting up to a split pair. Obviously, this type of thing with the corner orientation won't necessarily always be true, but for the vast majority of cases, you'll want to be splitting up, or setting up to however your corner orientation would be inserted. This is not, in my opinion, how you should be recognizing it in solves. It's just one method of how to find things in slow solves, but again, not always the type of principle you should follow. Just a general rule of thumb. So here, you just bring this up to the top, and it gives you a free pair, and you insert. And now, this is my star piece, so I bring it up to the top, and I insert. It's oriented, because, like, green is essentially the equivalent to orange, since, like, if blue was on front, then it would obviously be mouth-oriented. So in the other orientation, it's, of course, going to be oriented, so you insert. Now here, like, this is another really nice case. Sorry. Yawn. These match. And like EO is good and all that, so you can just do an L2 prime, which gives you a 3-mover. So you insert. And then here, you can see that like these two match, right? EO's bad. And the color's back here, so like I think it's pretty obvious. Like if you move it here and look at this, you get a 3-mover. So you can just set up to a free pair and then insert. Now here, this is my star piece. Of course, technically you could do L2 prime, F2 prime, but that's kind of bad, since like bad ergonomics, because you're doing an F2 prime, and also like kind of flows a bit, like, ew, come on, really? So I'll just do an L2 first, and then I'll just insert this into here, and then I'll just bring this to the top. Now here you have two options for this case. It's a very nice case. You could either rotate and do obviously double back sexy, cancelled in to bring the slot back up, because it's just like this on 3x3, which, oh god, I said 3x3 in such a weird way. This is a pretty obvious case. I'd imagine you'd know it. But if not, just like these don't match, so obviously like an R prime here will set up to it, but like a better way for ergonomics is just doing that. But if you do decide to do it from this orientation, which I very often do, a sledge will give you an oriented 3-mover, so you can do sledge R prime FR, which is obviously very nice. It's a very nice case. Here for these two, if you got it from this angle, you could always do something like this into like a cancellation into a different fancy case, which I didn't get in this example solve, but you know. Yeah, but from this angle, the clearly very vastly superior option is to an L, and that, like, you can just recognize it as these two are matching, or like whatever. L, U, and then I think here you can very clearly see where this is going. These don't match. L gives you a free pair, and you insert. Now here, I usually use this as my star piece if possible, which here it definitely is. This is actually going to give me a very nice case that I wanted to showcase. So you insert this, and then you have this pair, which is just the triple sexy case from 3x3. It's this. So you have a few options. You can obviously do double inverse sexy, cancelled into the R prime FR insert that I showed you before. You can also do it from this angle. You can do hedge into inserting and doing F. That has the F move, so it's a bit like it has an F move at the end of it, like, which isn't necessarily that bad, but I mean the fact that you're like having to realign afterwards is a bit whatever. But this is, in my opinion, like, maybe not always, but when you have to realign it, like usually I would probably do the hedge solution. When you have to do an F move afterwards, this is, in my opinion, probably the best thing to do. So you put the corner at the back and you do F prime, sexy move, R prime F2R. So the way you would recognize this is it's just a cancellation of like this solution, F prime, sexy move, R prime F2R, F prime. So you just get rid of the F prime at the end. And the way you would do this solution intuitively, if you know doing an intuitive solution would help you to learn it better, which for me it would, so I don't know. It's just F prime sexy R prime F4, cancel into sledge, and if you're on F prime sexy R prime F4, it just solves this case. It's pretty easy to find yourself, so yeah. This pair, I guess I just showed it F prime sexy R prime F4, that works into F. The inverse works into doing an F move, except then you do like F2, which is a bit eh. You can do sledge or your prime. There are lots of good solutions for this. Wait, sorry, I need to find what specific case I had. Yeah, okay, it was this case, just because I want to make sure that I get this pair the exact same. Honestly, this is nice, but just for this case specifically, I think I'll just do the sledge solution, which in this case gives me, just by pure coincidence, I hadn't seen this. It gives me an incredibly nice case, as you can. I mean, I'd imagine you can see it. I have all the EO solved, and I just have a free pair here. Because, like, if I do an R, you can see I get this case, so I can just cancel into solving that. And since I want EO, like, lots of the time, I would try to solve this on the front, but it's an insane case, and it has EO, so I'll just rotate. And then I get a free pair, and you insert slash layer. So, yeah. That was a crazy last layer, what the fuck. It was back anti-soon into U-burn, that was so lucky.